Good morning, my dear students. See, in the previous session, we have understood about the shape of total product, isn't it? Along with the values and along with the diagram, we have understood about the shape of this total product curve and how the total product value changes, isn't it? So, before starting this marginal product and average product curve, let me tell you in brief about this total product curve. First tell me, what do you mean by total product? See, total product means it is the total volume of goods and services that a firm can produce within a specified period of time. That is during a, generally we can take it during a year. That is known as what? Total product, isn't it? And we have understood that this total product value, what it happens to the total product value means, as we go on increasing the input factor, one of the input factor, we can increase the output value. So that is what is happening in this total product value case, isn't it? See, as we are increasing the number of units of labor used, the total product value is increasing, isn't it? For example, if you take, when you are using the 1 unit of labor, then you can observe here there is a 10 units of total product, isn't it? Then in the second unit of labor, we can observe the total product value is equal to how much? It is equal to 24. Okay. Then in the third unit of labor, we can observe here the total product value is equal to 40. Then in the fourth unit of labor, we can consider here we are getting 50 units of total product value. Okay. So we can say that as we increase one of the variable input factor in production process, what happens? There you can observe that there is a increase in the output value. That is, there will be a increase in the total product value, isn't it? So next, if you observe, what will be the shape of this total product curve then? We have drawn that on x-axis, isn't it? You have taken what? On x-axis and on y-axis. Its original on x-axis, we have taken the number of units of labor used, isn't it? And on y-axis, we have considered output. That is, on horizontal axis, we are considering labor values, number of units of labor used, and on y-axis, we are considering the output value. Okay. Then, when we draw the total product curve, how will be the shape of that? How it looks like? So, and draw like this. Okay. Suppose L unit of labor is used to produce Q1 quantity of output. To produce what? Q1 quantity of output. Then total product curve. This was the shape, isn't it? This is the shape of the total product curve. How does it looks like? It is positively sloped curve. What is the shape of this total product curve? It is positively sloped curve, isn't it? So you can write here the shape of total product curve is what? Positively sloped curve, isn't it? Why do I say this positively sloped curve? See, in the values you can observe here, as I am increasing the number of units of labor used, the total product value is increasing, isn't it? Initially, during the number of units of labor used was 1, we obtained 10 units of total product value. Again, when the L value is equal to 2, then you obtain 24 units of total product value. So likewise, as we are increasing the labor values, that is the number of units of labor used, the total product value is increasing. That's what we have plotted here, isn't it? So it is positively sloped curve. Which one? Total product curve is positively sloped curve, we can say. Here you can observe, by using L unit of labor, okay, we can produce, a firm can produce Q1 quantity of output. Okay. Then let us understand about the marginal product curve and average product curve shapes. Okay. See, to understand this marginal product curve, let me tell you about the law of variable proportion. Here we have to remember that. How does the marginal product value changes in the law of diminishing marginal product? Do you remember that? Yes. So first, let us know the law of variable proportion. Okay. Or it's also known as what? Law of diminishing marginal product. Law of diminishing marginal product. Okay. So what is the statement of this? What does it state? How we can define this law? See, law of diminishing marginal product or law of variable proportion can be stated in this manner. That is, the marginal product of a factor input initially rises with its employment level, but after reaching a certain level of employment, the marginal product value will fall. Okay, or the marginal product value will decrease. This is the law of diminishing marginal product. So here also in the values, if you observe in the table, if you observe the values of marginal product, the same case is happening, isn't it? See, when you are using a 0 unit of labor, I said that the production process has not been taken place. So there is no production of products or service or goods, anything. So we will be taking here TP as 0, marginal product value is 0 also. Okay. Then when you are using 1 unit of labor, the marginal product value, how much I can obtain? It will be equal to 10. Okay, it will be equal to what? 10. Then when the number of units of labor used is 2, what is the value of MP here? The marginal product value is 14. See, observe here properly. You can observe here that there is an increase in the marginal product value, isn't it? So initially when the number of units of labor used was 1, the marginal product value was equal to 10, and when the number of units of labor used is 2, the marginal product value is equal to 14 alva. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ marginal product value ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ number of units of labor use ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದಂಗೆಲ್ಲ L value ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋದಂಗೆ MP value ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, up to this if you take, it is increasing, isn't it? Up to 3rd unit of labor, the marginal product value is increasing. ಇದು ನಾವು ಏನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಯಾವ್ದು ಲಾನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ, even we can apply the law of variable proportion ಅಥವಾ law of diminishing marginal product ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ law of diminishing marginal product ಏನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್, ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಯಾವ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರು, ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದಂಗೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ನೀವು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ಆನ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಬೈ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಆವಾಗ, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ಸೊ ದ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್. ಹೌದಾನೆ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ 3rd ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ 16 ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಅದೇ ಈಗ ನೀವು 4th ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ 10 ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. isn't it? See, after certain level of employment, third ಆದಮೇಲೆ 4th ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 4th ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದಾದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. Again, if you observe in the 5th unit of labor used, we can see that the marginal product value had become still less, that is equal to 6, isn't it? Then when we are using the marginal, when we are using the number of unit of labor used as 6, then the marginal product value had become still lesser, that is equal to what, 1 ಆಗಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ MP ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, ಹೌದಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ನಾವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ the law of diminishing marginal product can be observed here, isn't it? So to certain level of employment the marginal product value will be increasing, isn't it, by increasing one of the input factor. But after reaching a certain level of employment level, means after reaching a certain level of number of units of labor used, the marginal product value will start decreasing. Okay, then what will be the shape of this marginal product curve that we have to draw, isn't it? So before drawing that, let me explain about this also, average product values, because even we have to know about the shape of average product curve, that's why. Okay, observe the average product value here. Here also, when the number of units of labor used is equal to 0, the average product value is equal to what, 0, because there is no production of any kind of goods or products, isn't it? Any of the product or good had not been produced. Then when we are using a 1 unit of labor, we can observe we are having how much, 10 units of average product. And when you are using second unit of labor, we can observe here we can obtain 12 units of average product value. How much? 12 units of average product value, means we can observe here there is an increase in the average product value, isn't it? Is there is any increase? Yes, earlier it was 10 units and now it is 12 units. Then when we are using third unit of labor, we can obtain how much, 13.33. How much? We can obtain 13.33 of average product value, means still there is a increase. But after certain level of input use, if you observe here, by adopting 4th labor, what happens here, by using a 4th unit of labor in the production process, what happens is we can observe here we are having a value of 12.5 units of output. How much it is? It is equal to 12.5 units of average product, means what had happened here is the value of average product is decreasing, alva. So nodi illi average product value ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ 13.33 ಇತ್ತು, ಅಪ್ ಟು ಥರ್ಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ average product value ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. 4th ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಆವ್ರೇಜ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅದು, 12.5 ಆಗಿದೆ, ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್. ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ 5th ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್, the average product value is equal to 11.2. How much it is? It is equal to 11.2, means still it is having a decreased value, isn't it? Still it is having a lesser value when we compare that with the previous average product value. Okay, then by using a 6th unit of labor, we have obtained 9.5 value of average product, isn't it? The average product value is how much? It is equal to 9.5. Okay, so this is about the average product values. Then let me compare this marginal product value and average product value after drawing a diagram. Okay, so here now I will be drawing a diagram to show the shapes of marginal product curve and to show the shape of average product curve. Okay, so origin O on horizontal axis, that is on x-axis, let us take number of units of labor used, that is labor. Then on y-axis, that is on vertical axis, let us consider output. Okay, so here the shape of this marginal product and average product can be observed here. Okay, by using L unit of labor. How much? L unit of labor, you can obtain P unit of output. Okay, P unit of output. Draw this diagram. This is average product curve. Okay, this is marginal product curve, point P. Okay, so this is how you can draw the marginal product curve and average product curve. So here you can observe by using a L unit of labor, isn't it? We have produced certain amount of output, that is P amount of output we can say, isn't it? Both marginal product curve and average product curve are coinciding each other at the point P, isn't it? So here look at this table values, that too into marginal product value and average product value. So now let us compare the marginal product value and average product value. See, when you are using a 1 unit of labor, the marginal product value is 10 and average product value is also 10. And in the next case, that is when you are using second unit of labor, the marginal product value is 14 and average product value is 12, isn't it? Means both the values, that is both MP and AP values are increasing as I am increasing the number of units of labor used, isn't it? And if you compare here marginal product value and average product value, which is greater? Up to third unit if you compare, okay, up to third unit if you compare, third unit of labor, which value is greater? Yes, marginal product value is greater than, these values are greater than the average product value, isn't it? Here of course it is same 10, 10, but in the second unit of labor use, if you observe, marginal product value is 14, whereas average product value is equal to 12, isn't it? It is equal to how much? It is equal to 12. Means in this case the marginal product value is greater than the average product value, isn't it? Again in the third unit of labor used, here also the marginal product value is greater than the average product value. MP value ಏನಾಗಿದೆ third unit of labor ಅಲ್ಲಿ 16 ಇದೆ, average product value 13.3. of course individually if you consider average product value ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಜಾಸ್ತಿನೇ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಎರಡು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿ marginal product value ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಆವ್ರೇಜ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಅಗೇನ್ in fourth unit of labor, if you observe, the marginal product value is decreasing. It had decreased ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ 10 ಇದೆ, 16 ಇದೆ, 10 ಆಗಿದೆ. average product value ಕೂಡ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ 12.5. but if you compare these two, what's happening here? AP, that is average product value is greater than marginal product value. ಹೌದಾ. so average product value ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ marginal product value ಗಿಂತ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಅಗೇನ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಫಿಫ್ತ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಆವ್ರೇಜ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 11.2 ಇದೆ, ಎಂ ಪಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 6 ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ? ಆವ್ರೇಜ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸಿಕ್ಸ್ತ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 1 ಇದೆ, ಆವ್ರೇಜ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 9.5 ಇದೆ. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ರೀಚಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್, the average product value will be greater than the marginal product value, but both are decreasing. That is true. Okay, so look at this diagram now. On x-axis I am considering the number of units of labor used, and on y-axis I am considering the number of units of output that can be produced, isn't it? So here you can observe, by using a L unit of labor have drawn, we have produced certain level of output, isn't it? Both the curves, that is MP and AP curves, are meeting at the point P. Okay, and now look at this left of this L, left of this L ಎಡಗಡೆ ಭಾಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ marginal product value curve, MP curve, no, it is greater than average product curve, isn't it? That also we can observe here. The same thing is observed in this, isn't it? Third level of unit ತನಕ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ MP ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ AP ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಗಿಂತ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 16 ಇದ್ರೆ 13.33. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ in this left side of L we can observe that the marginal product value is greater than average product value. Okay, and to the right of L, if you observe, what is happening? The average product value is greater than the marginal product curve. We are talking about curve here, so the average product curve is greater than the marginal product curve. And if you look at these values here, by using fourth unit of labor, that is after fourth unit, or by using fourth unit, fifth unit, sixth unit, what's happening is the average product value is greater than, 12.5 ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಇದೆ. So the AP value is greater than MP value. Okay, so average product value MP value ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ average product curve is greater than, or it is having a higher values when compared to the MP. So average product curve is greater than the MP curve. It is on the upper side because it indicates that AP value is greater than the MP values. Okay, then coming to the shapes now. What is the shape of this marginal product curve? Can you observe? Which alphabet is it resembling? It's in an inverse shape. What is that? Yes, the shape of the marginal product curve is inverse U shaped. Okay, the shape of the marginal product curve is, it is inversely U shaped curve. Okay, so you can write the shape of marginal product curve is inversely U shaped ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಯು ಏನು ಬರೀತೀವಲ್ವ ಈ ಥರ, ಅದು ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಕಾಣ್ತಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ ನಮಗಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ದ ಶೇಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕರ್ವ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ಲಿ ಯು ಶೇಪ್ಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಶೇಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆವ್ರೇಜ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕರ್ವ್? ಆವ್ರೇಜ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕರ್ವ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ ನಮಗೆ? ದ ಶೇಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ average product curve is also inversely U shaped. ಅದು ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಿಬೋದು. ಏನಂತ ಬರೀತೀರಾ? the shape of, you can write the shape of average product curve is inversely U-shaped, isn't it? The shape of the average product curve is also what? It is also inversely U-shaped. Okay, so this is about shapes of total product, marginal product and average product curves. Okay, it's important for 6 marks, so learn it properly along with the table, that is along with the values you have to explain, and along with the diagrams you have to explain in this case. Okay, I think you have understood about this. So next let me move on to the next topic. Okay, that is returns to scale. Returns to scale. Okay, see, this is an important topic wherein you can expect two types of questions here. One is like this: explain about the concept of returns to scale. If that is a question, you can expect this concept for 4 marks. 4 marks he keltare, explain the concept of returns to scale. Okay, otherwise they may ask other question like for 2 marks, mention the different types of returns to scale. That will be for 2 marks only if you are mentioning the different types. We have 3 types over there that I will be explaining now. So if you are just mentioning, that will be asked for 2 marks. If you are explaining this in detail, means that will be for 4 marks. Okay, overall it is important for the exam. For how many marks? Overall for 6 marks. So learn it properly, understand this properly. Okay. Okay, coming to this returns to scale. What do you mean by this? See, it shows the behavior of production or returns to scale when all the productive factors are increased simultaneously. What does it show? It shows the behavior of production or the returns when all the factors of production are increased simultaneously in the same ratio, isn't it? You might be thinking, okay, when do we increase all the factors of production? Yavag navu ella factors of production increase ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಹೇಳಿ? Yes, it is in the long run, alva? Long run alli navu enanta tilkondidvi? In the long run, all the factors of production, all the input factors can be varied, isn't it? So it happens in the long run. This, which one? Returns to scale can be observed in the long run. Okay, but whereas in the law of variable proportion or in the law of diminishing marginal product, what happened there? There, what did we do? We have kept one of the input factor as constant and another input factor was varied. Alva, ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ನ ನಾವು ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಟು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ದ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ. ಬಟ್ here in this returns to scale, what happens means all the input factors during a production process can be increased simultaneously in the same ratio. ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ನ ಸೇಮ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಥವಾ ಸೇಮ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಇದು ಎದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಲಾಂಗ್ ರನ್. ಓಕೆ, Then how do you write the meaning of this returns to scale? I said that it shows the behavior of a production or a returns when all the factors are increased simultaneously in the same ratio, isn't it? So you can write here that it is the behavior of production. It shows the what? It shows the behavior of production or returns when all the productive factors are increased simultaneously in the same ratio, ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸನ್ನು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್, ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ರಾ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್, ಆ ರೀತಿ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ನು ಕೂಡ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ನು ನಾವು ಸೇಮ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂವಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಕಂಡುಬರೋ ಅಂಥ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ನಮಗೆ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂತು ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊತೀವಲ್ವ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ this can be understood by using the three types of returns to scale. We have a three types of returns to scale, or we say it as there are three stages of returns to scale. avagale one question helde nanu eno mention the different types of returns to scale anta exam ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2 marks ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ನೀವೇನು ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ there are three types of returns to scale. Okay, so which are those? That is constant returns to scale, we can abbreviate that as CRS. Okay, and another one is increasing returns to scale. It can be abbreviated as IRS. Okay, and the next one is, the third one is decreasing returns to scale. Okay, decreasing returns to scale, that is DRS. What is that? DRS. So now let us understand about this meaning. First one is what? Constant returns to scale. How can you define this constant returns to scale? When a proportional increase in all the inputs results in the increase in the output in the same proportion, then the production function is said to be constant returns to scale anta ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. I'll repeat. When a proportional increase in all the inputs results in the increase in the output in the same proportion, then the production function is said to be constant returns to scale. Constant returns to scale ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ, ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ನ ನೀವು ಸೇಮ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂವಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೇಮ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೇಮ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಒಂದೊಂದೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ, ವಿ ಜನರಲಿ ನೋ ದಟ್ isn't it, when input the quantity of input is increased, what happens? Obviously it leads to a increase in what? Output alva. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಸೇಮ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅದೆಷ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ with the same proportion there is a increase in the output. It results in the increase in the output in the same proportion. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೋ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೋ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಿಮಗೆ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸೇಮ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದು? ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ವೆನ್ ದರ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ increase, when a proportion of increase in all the input takes place, then there will be a increase in the output in the same proportion. Then that is known as what? Constant returns to scale, or we can say it as CRS. Okay, then you can take one example for this. For example, if you double the factors of input what you are using, then you can get a doubled input. There is an increase in the output. How much? ಎಷ್ಟು increase ಆಗಿದೆ? Even the output has been increased to the double level. It is also doubled ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಏನು ತಗೋಬೋದು ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ, if you are using or if you are increasing the 50% of input, then you can get a 50% of increase in the output. ಆವಾಗ ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೋ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಮಗೆ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆವಾಗ ಸೇಮ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸೇಮ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್? increasing returns to scale. What do you mean by this increasing returns to scale? See, what happens here is, when a proportional increase in all the inputs results in the increase in the output by a larger proportion. ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನೀವು 50% ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟು? ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? 70% ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಬೇರೆ 50% ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ. 50% ಆದರೆ ಅದು CRS ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 70% ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ there is a more increase in the output, isn't it? There is a more amount of output produced than the input what you have increased ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಅವಾಗ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? increasing returns to scale. ಸಪೋಸ್ ನೀವು 50% ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂದರೆ ನಿಮಗಿಲ್ಲಿ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? 70% ಬಂದಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಆವಾಗ ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಡಿಫೈನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್? ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆನ್ a proportional increase in all the inputs results in the increase of output by larger proportion, then that is known as what? Increasing returns to scale. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ಟು ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಏನಿದೆ ಹೇಳಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು? ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಏನಾದರೆ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನಂತ? ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಆಗತ್ತಿದು ಅಂದರೆ, ವೆನ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಆ್ಯನ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಬೈ ಅ ಸ್ಮಾಲರ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಏನೋ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅಮೌಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅಮೌಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಅ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್, if the input is doubled and the output is less than the double. ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ನೀವು 50% ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂದರೆ, ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ನ 50% ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 40% ಅಷ್ಟು ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೆ. ಓಕೆ, 40% ಆಫ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು? ವೆನ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್, then the result will be increase in the output by a less proportion, by a lesser proportion, then that is known as what? Decreasing returns to scale. Okay, this is about the concept of what? Returns to scale. It's very important topic. It might be asked for 4 marks to explain, or else they may ask you to just mention the types of returns to scale. At that time you have to write constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, and another one is decreasing returns to scale. Okay, so in today's class we have discussed about the shapes of marginal product curve, total product curve, and average product curve, isn't it? The shape of the total product curve is positively sloped curve. Then the shape of the marginal product curve and average product curve is inversely U-shaped, isn't it? Then after that you have understood about returns to scale. So in this we have a 3 types, that is increasing returns to scale, constant returns to scale, and decreasing returns to scale. Further I will continue in the next class. Thank you.